The point of being black and being gay is to make sure you're clear that you have to carry a mantle that other people don't have to carry. That's why it's so few.
Come on now.
Right. It's just a few because God made just a few people a little greater than the rest of the population.
Listen.
Let me just read what I I'm really excited about this because I said, oh my God, how many times you get a black event that's at the museum, right? Yeah. So really, if y'all really feel me, right, we came here, right, because King is in the audience. And King might have missed some of this in King's time. Wow. Right? So our job sometimes even to heal the ancestors.
That's good.
And to bring them forward also. Sometimes great men, great women, great men and great women. But sometimes they missed a few things. Right? And so the job of us, right, is to make sure that King is very clear. Right? That you didn't honor Bayard Rustin maybe quite like you should have. I better read this and get out of the way. I wasn't sure quite what I was going to say today. And then, I hopped on a plane this morning from Atlanta. And when I got to Memphis, I got off the plane in Memphis, and I was walking, just chilling. And this woman stopped me and she said, "Oh my God, are you Daniel Black?" And I said, "Ma'am, I think I am." And she said, "Oh my God, I've read your work and it just moved me. Oh, you just blah, blah, blah." And she said, "Why do you write? Right? Why do you write?" And so I began to think of like what I would answer if God asked me, "Why do you write?"
That's good.
Right? And so I put this together and this is what I'm going to share with you. I write because I once believed I was ugly. Then I wrote myself into beauty. I write because I used to be ashamed of what I was. Then God came down and told me that I was him, and I was her, and she was me, and shame had no place among human dwelling. And so in exchange for this, I promised God to tell the truth. The real truth, the naked, glorious truth, that we are all free to be gods if we would so choose. That God is not concerned with flesh and blood, but with spiritual ecstasy shared between living beings. And so with pen and paper, I set about the duty of setting the world free. I write that black won't be ugly one day, that children of every hue dance together in the invisible wind until their color becomes irrelevant. I write because we rape. I write because we hurt. I write because some people, just some people, cannot quite say what they feel, and so I say it for them. It can only be felt in the marrow of a story, say, about an effeminate boy who wanted to be a man but couldn't figure out how, or a girl who longed for beauty but was given brilliance instead. And so I write that they might not give up the fight. I write that they might not, in fact, understand that there is no failure in them, that in who they are already made perfect. I write that they will stop praying for God to redo what God already did excellently. If someone must die, let it not be the brother who sees the world for what it is and spends his life loving the way he imagines Jesus would. If someone must die, let it not be the sister who loves everything and everyone, for she alone knows the journey of self-discovery and how to get us home. She knows the edge of the world, the scent of loneliness, the feeling of being called names so disgusting, so vile, so putrid that even the angels shudder. Yes, if someone must die, let it not be the choir boy who all his life has wanted only to love whoever would love him in return. I write for them. I write that we might live, that our stories might be holy and sacred, read by those standing at the cliff, weeping, begging God to forgive them for what they cannot change, as God screams only, "Hell is for those who don't love themselves."
Wow.
And so this is why I write. I write to offer words to heal what mothers and fathers could not. I offer verses to love the rejected, to give sight to the willingly blind, to make room for those the world has dismissed. Day and night I write because precious blood is being spilled by those who find no God within themselves. And so in every character, in every plot, in every description, in every image, I seek only to create a world full of gods. Gay gods, lesbian gods, ant gods, leopard gods, tree gods, ocean gods, elephant gods, but holy gods, all who share powers and kingdoms to secure for laws and limitations. I write that troubled youth might decide not to jump, but to leap into self-worth and dance their way into self-celebration. I write that elders might know their lives have not been in vain. I write to tell gay brothers that they're straight too. I write to shed light on the power of love and to convince every heart of its right to have it. Every heart, that's right, every single heart, every single solitary heart, every single solitary wounded heart. This is why I write. I write to remind the lost that the way home is through forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness. That wilderness of chaos and pain, bruises and careless apologies. That realization that no one can keep your happiness unless you surrender it. I write to give strength back to the giver, to tell the world to kiss your ass if it thinks you're going to die, to satisfy other people and old outdated and antiquated beliefs. I write to shout to the world, no fucking way, when it tries to convince you that you're not supposed to be free. This is why I write. I write to keep the strong from becoming weak and to tell the weak that you are strong. I write to sing praises for those who died, for those who wouldn't. I write to pay homage to those who said I am black and beautiful before being either one was in vogue. I write to say thank you to men who love and honor women, to bow down before women who love and honor men, to applaud the few who love and raise children they did not birth. This is why I write, because we've not seen the fullness of love yet. Not yet. We've not set it free in our hearts to dance. Not yet. Not quite yet. To sing a lullaby of healing, to walk among our pain slowly until every hurt is a distant memory or a flower in bloom. We've not taken the risk to strip ourselves naked, not fully naked, completely bare before others' eyes and stand in full confidence of what they behold without shame. Wow. We're not yet sure of our divinity. We're not yet convinced that we're truly holy. We're still praising somebody else's God.
Listen.
We've not yet decided that in our best we're always enough, always. And so I have to write. And I'm going to write until the wind tells me otherwise. I'm going to write until the ocean's tide moans our freedom. I'm going to write until trees begin to walk among us and tell ancient stories of bygone days and people unremembered. If there's no paper, I will use my wall. I will use the wall. If there's no wall, I will use my hand. If I must relinquish my hand, I shall use the very earth upon which we stand and scratch into the dust the sentiments of liberty. And on their travels, someone will see the words laid upon the ground and they will know that their black Redeemer lives. This is why I write, and this is why I must. I write for the man so unattractive he never considers love, the woman burdened and blemished with weight too massive to hide. I write for their hearts, their precious tender hearts. Each word is an invitation for them to believe a new thing, a different thing, a marvelous transformative thing that will allow them to remove the mask and exist unashamed. I write because we still talking about good hair and boast of minuscule strains of Indian blood and African veins. I write for those who had children because they thought they should and ended up forsaking their role as the Christ. I write because we're still talking about Jesus as if there hasn't been another. And we're still praising him for having done what most of us wouldn't think of doing. So yes, I write because the kingdom of God is at hand. Indeed, it has come and gone so many, many, many times. And we keep looking for God while we're looking at God.
Wow.
And so I write that we might one day acquire eyes to see and ears to hear and voices to speak, and perhaps then God won't have to be invisible. God can then reveal God's self without shame, without fear that we as humans won't like it. So this is why I write. And with every book, I make love to spirits everywhere, joining in literary ecstasy with those who know the power of a worshipped word. I write that everyone can be cuddled and caressed, kissed and intercoursed without begging for another's unwilling flesh. I write in order to hold the hand of the diseased and the dying, the lonely and the suicidal. This is my calling. I have no choice. It is my duty. It's the price I pay for the breath I breathe. With each stroke of the pen, a soul resurrects and trades mortality for immortality, and life becomes bearable even for the scorned and the abused. With every page completed, tears fall somewhere in the world in celebration of a healing someone assumed would never come. But it came. It came in the midst of a book, powerful enough to speak with 1,000 tongues for 1,000 generations of silent, hurting souls. It came like a mist, soft and unsuspected, but steady enough to flood the world. This is why I write, y'all. This is why I write, y'all. I want us to live, y'all, and not just live, but thrive, y'all. And when it doesn't seem possible, we've got to understand that we have to live. We have to live. If we die, the world dies. When the world agrees it doesn't need us, I write that we might sing songs of work and play, struggle and heartache. Every book is a song, every paragraph a melody, every sentence a chorus of angels, reminding us to let everything that hath breath be black and let it be gay. Say it loud, say it from the mountaintop, declare it in the valley. We shall not all die, not all of us. Some of us are going to live. Yes, we're going to live, and the wind is going to carry the message until the world knows that fear has died and guilt ain't far behind. on, and that as long as books live, we too shall live and inherit everlasting life. And this is why I write. We've made someone else our God. We've abandoned our dreams because they seem so outlandish. We've let daddy's failures and mama's shortcomings define who and what we are. But daddy and mama were nothing but hills and mountains we had to climb because God sits high.
Yes.
I write to tell us that struggle is a gift. It keeps the body and the mind ready for battle. Failure is a celebration of what you've done and what you've still got to do. Heartbreak is a reminder not to let immature, raggedy, selfish people into your house. This is why I write, to get us ready for battle, to get us ready for triumph, to get us ready for a new world where we will reign, where we will once again understand who we were and what we were and why we came and why God did this to us, and understand that God, in fact, simply remade God's self. This is why I write. All you have to do is read.
Lord have mercy.